guys, how's it going? Marcelo here.
And Chase.
Welcome to Trash Talk. Arc 7, Return to Retro. So, we got a pretty cool one here. I remember in Arc 4, West and I went over Smash Brothers Melee, being the sequel to this one, Smash Brothers for N64.
Introducing Super Smash Brothers, where all your favorite characters go toe-to-toe in one 4-player star-studded slam fest, only on Nintendo 64.
Were you gonna say it?
No. I mean, you're fine.
Sorry. Did I cut you off again? Like in Zelda? It took me quite a while to go back when I was editing that, and I saw that I cut you off and I was not letting you give a chance to talk.
Funny. I don't even remember that. I don't even remember that happening in the...
Shit was funny, but sad.
Yeah, but when you showed it to me, you're like, Chase, I feel like such a dick.
Okay, so go ahead.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Super Smash Bros. 64. That was definitely the one that I have played the most of, and the one I remember the best. And so it'll help me really review this one in particular versus the others. But anyways, since you want to go over the summary then?
Yeah, okay, so this game came out on April 26th of '99 for us in the US, developed by HAL Laboratory, published by Nintendo obviously, and it's really intricate how this started out because this game almost didn't happen, the franchise almost didn't happen. But this first game, it was originally supposed to be called, like what, Dragon King the Fighting Game or something like that? Have you heard of this game's origin story? Yeah, no, it's crazy because it was not going to include Nintendo characters, they were all muscular men figures and whatnot. The concept of the percentage system and all that was still the same, but it originally did not include Nintendo characters, and the
It's going to be kind of its own thing in a way.
The project almost tanked. It was going to be an original IP, but the project almost tanked because there wasn't anything to bring anyone in, so I forget who it was. I'm not sure if it was Iwata or Sakurai. Someone, or even Miyamoto himself, threw out the suggestion to use Nintendo characters. Or I think it was actually Iwata who went ahead and just used them, even though they technically didn't have the rights to use them, because it's HAL, so it's not... They're affiliated with Nintendo, I mean, obviously, but not in the sense of...
They could just use their assets, exactly.
Yeah. So he built a quick prototype that used Mario, Donkey Kong, I think Link, and Samus, and it took off. The rest is history. So,
And good thing, too, because now it's one of the most popular series that Nintendo has, you know?
Yeah. It's crazy the way the origin started out. So that's basically it for the summary of the game. But story,
Kill the Master Hand.
yeah. Besides that, there is no story.
That's it.
It's not story driven in the slightest.
Not even kind of. I mean, the levels they're just levels. You fight stuff, and there's not really anything to it. You know?
Pretty much we can just skip that and go right into the gameplay.
Pretty much,
the gameplay is the most unique part of the game.
Yeah. It's a fighter, but not just like the typical, like when you think fighter, like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter or whatever. It takes the fighter genre and completely puts its own spins on it. Like I said, with the percentile system, being blown off the sides, so it's not just like you fight until you run out of health. Your gauge goes up, you gain percentage, and the higher that number goes, then the more easily you're knocked off balance, right? And you could fly up really high off the sides, or you fall down. All those are anywhere, basically any direction. If you go too far, you're in that's how you die, right? And the goal is to send them flying instead of just killing them, you know, which is a really cool concept. Because to me, it's a lot more satisfying to just blow someone at 100 miles per hour off the screen versus just watching them go, you know, like a lot of fighters typically do. They take that role. So being able to really put a spin on the fighter genre is what made it as popular as it is now.
Plus, the levels can be intricately designed around that concept, and they are.
Yes. Yeah, it's not just like a static. Now they do have like, you know, Final Destination.
Yeah.
That's not what it's called in Super Smash Brothers. But the first version of it, they have like some basic.
It is. Or I don't think I had. Well, maybe it didn't have the name.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't until Melee that stage became Final.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean.
But some are more intricate than others. So some of them are fairly basic, just kind of flat platforms.
Yeah.
Some have platforms that move around or sometimes the map actually interacts with you and like it'll try to blow you off or shoot lasers at you. So not only are the other character is a problem, but you have to really watch what's going on with the screen as well and what the map is currently doing. You know, so a good example is the very first level is Hyrule Castle, and there's little like hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff that you have to watch out. They don't go too fast, and they're a little taller than your character. But if you get caught in it, it'll do some damage, rack up your percentage, and it'll send you flying into the air.
Yeah.
And so you want to dodge those as well as possible. And of course, on top of all this, the maps being intricate and being part of the gameplay and already being a spin off the different types of fighters in general, there's a lot of different items that you can pick up to use. And you can either, like swords to swing, blasters to shoot, fire to throw.
The fan.
Exactly. Yeah. The home run bat. But not only can you use them, but you can actually throw them at your enemies as another form of ranged attack. Yeah. So it's more than just using them. They actually give you a lot of leeway to use these different things. And a lot of them have different abilities to them as well. Yeah. Which is really cool. Like the home run bat, you can just kind of smack the stuff out of stuff, or it has a power attack that allows you to. It's a good finisher.
Nearly one hit kill.
Yeah, unless they're like.
Rarely does it not send them flying and insta-kill them, but for the most part it does.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, it's just a very creative, easy play. Each match is different. You know what I mean? And that's what makes the gameplay so appealing versus other fighters for a lot of people.
Yeah. Short roster though. I think it's only 10 or so characters.
I think,
including secret characters.
I think it's 12. I believe you start with 8. And then there's 4 that are locked, which you get via playing the game. Luigi, Jigglypuff, Captain Falcon, and Ness.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 other characters. The others being the ones you start out with being Mario, of course, the classic. Link, Donkey Kong, Samus, Fox, Pikachu, Kirby. And there's probably 1 or 2 others, but yeah, overall it's not that's almost all of it. Of course, the newer renditions have as many as like 30 or more.
Smash has like fucking almost 50.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
because all characters have their own slots and whatnot. But
exactly,
the point still stands.
So yeah, so in gameplay, there's really 2 different modes. You have your story or adventure mode, which is just you go through different stages with different maps and against different people, and it progressively gets harder until you fight the Master Hand at the end of the game. And they also have a multiplayer section where you can go against friends or AIs.
Whichever one plays.
Yeah, which is what the majority of people play, unless you're trying to, get like a high score or something.
I don't think Event Match came in until Melee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they did have training, which was break the targets, stuff on the platforms. Which that one was exclusive to 64.
Yeah.
The platform one. 100 Man, I believe, because they had the Polygon team. Fighting the Polygon team.
Well, it wasn't 100, it was 30.
Oh, okay. But still, like, that was a staple in a sense, because it was wireframe and then alloys and Mies. So that was a staple.
Yeah, weaker, but bigger numbers.
Yeah.
And that's where the difficulty came from those.
And then there's different gameplay styles. There's the time attack, which just basically you rack up points for every kill you get. You lose points for every time you're killed. So whoever has the most points by the end of the timer when it goes down, whoever wins, based off how many kills you get.
Different modes too. You can have stock or timed.
Stock is fun.
Team stock. That's usually what I play. Team stock is fun. I'm not as big on the time modes. I like it because if you get your team down, you're out a teammate and you have to carry through the rest of the game. It can be pretty epic if you win that way.
Yeah.
And so, so you have a different and. You can change the damage, like the modifier from like 100% to 110. To make it change the game a little bit, and you can turn the items on and off. Like if there's a certain item that you think is just too overpowered or you don't really care for, you can turn those off, which is a nice thing. That way you can kind of cater the gameplay to how you would prefer.
Yeah.
Which is really nice feature to have in a game, especially around the N64 days. Those were features that weren't quite typical yet. You didn't see, so it was really cool to be able to see that level of customization in the game. So that's pretty much gameplay in a nutshell, everything.
Yeah, so the aesthetics, basically everything from the levels, the items are based off of some kind of Nintendo franchise.
Yes.
You got Pokeballs, you got the baseball bat, I believe is from, there's either a baseball game from Nintendo, which I think there was, on like the NES or something, or it's probably from like Ness, Mother or Earthbound or something.
Yeah.
You got the hammer from
Mario.
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The works, Invincibility Star from Mario, that's definitely Mario sequel. But the aesthetics, like the looks of the stages are also taken. There's a Pokemon stage, a Mario stage. Metroid.
Yes, that's what I was saying. Yes.
But then their own original stages too, like Battlefield or Fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. So stuff that are specific to those Nintendo characters, and others that are specific to the game itself. But they still have the Nintendo polish and feel to them.
Yeah, and it's definitely a mishmash. It's like all the worlds are colliding.
Yeah, exactly.
Which they explore in later games, like the Subspace Emissary and Brawl, which is awesome. But yeah.
So when it comes to the graphics of the game, the maps typically look pretty good. Some of the items I found can be a little inconsistent. I think it's the bumper.
Oh yeah.
That particular item I always thought felt kind of pixelated and a little inconsistent with the rest of the game sometimes. But most of the time the game tries to take on 3D models, where that one is kind of 2D in style.
There's only so much they can get away with.
Yeah, of course. And of course part of it is it's limitations, But most of the time, the game does 3D models, like everything that interacts in the background. If you remember,
there's a Yoshi story,
the fog stage where the ship comes in.
Yeah.
It's obviously a 3D model. And
versus something like the Yoshi stage, I believe there's a Yoshi stage in this one.
Yeah.
I know there was in Melee, but in this one,
there's a Yoshi stage.
They could get away with it being 2D because Yoshi's story is 2D. So
Yeah.
A lot of those assets, like the Shy Guys in the background or whatever, are not even fully like.
Yeah. Or that heart is in the back and it's flat.
Yeah.
But overall, the game looks pretty good for a Nintendo 64 game overall.
Yeah. Like every single Nintendo 64 game is pretty much dated at this point, but this one, since it was made sometime after Mario 64 and all that stuff, it looks better than those games, but still limited to what the console could do. And this game did push the console to its limit, but at the same time, it's simple. They kept it simple.
And it still ran well.
Yeah.
It didn't choke up too often.
No. Yeah. When there's like a lot of explosions that show on the screen, then it kind of like lags, but almost every Smash Brothers does that. Because that's not supposed to happen typically, but
that's typical of most games. If you have a lot of effects going on at one time, it's gonna chug a little bit.
But that's really that's just as extreme as it goes.
Yeah. Overall, easily playable. It's not really an issue.
Yeah.
All right. Usually we cover the box.
I don't have the box.
Yeah, I know. When I got the game, I was given it just the cartridge from a friend.
Yeah.
I never.
Well, the game cover here. Let me get the game.
Okay, you're right. So it is. It's the same thing.
Yeah. So here's the cartridge in pretty okay condition. That is the artwork on the front cover. Obviously, there's more to it than just this.
It's because it's rectangular, so it cuts off a lot of it here.
I love how they kept it safe and it's 2D. It's just a 2D artwork. But it looks cool. It shows these characters interacting, and they've never done that before.
So that in itself, even though it's not necessarily the most detailed, high quality detail, just the fact that you see it's showing you that interaction, the fact that you can see all your different favorite characters in one game.
Yeah, they wanted to make it. This game was the experiment, the first impression. Give the viewers and the fans a good first impression, so it doesn't have to look exceptionally good in terms of look at this highly detailed artwork.
No,
but it's showing all these Nintendo characters
what you can kind of expect in the game.
In one game, yeah.
Exactly.
And they're fighting. You can see the little comic book crap.
Mario looks a little bit more gritty than he typically does on other box covers. You see Pikachu shooting lightning at him. So exactly. So when you see that, you're like, wow, that's really cool. That was cool. Exactly.
So it does its job well enough.
Exactly. Yeah, it does.
Same thing with the soundtrack too. We just go ahead and go to that real quick.
Well, the soundtrack, what's cool about the soundtrack, just like they have different characters in different stages from all the different Nintendo games, they also incorporate all the different soundtracks that are reminiscent of those games as well, So
redone.
Exactly, remastered for this title. So it's really cool. It's both nostalgic and fresh at the same time.
Yeah.
Of course, thinking in the mindset of '99 when it came out, But even to today, it's still pretty high quality.
And it set the tone for what the other soundtracks and stuff would do for the other Smash Brothers games. That they would take familiar songs from the histories of these franchises and then redo them. Sometimes they just straight up borrow them. Sometimes they don't even change them at all. Like the Mario Brothers theme from the original NES Super Mario Brothers. It's so iconic that, and they still do. There are still separate tracks where they do remix like that theme in particular, or whatever the case is, for this specific example. But then they'll take that exact 8-bit theme and just reuse it. But it's still cool. So it keeps some familiarity, but make it different too.
One of my favorite ones is the remaster of the Metroid soundtrack in that stage. Yeah. That's personally one of my favorite soundtracks. Although the one Metal Mario, so they had a few original tracks as well to fit some of those new stages, and so it was really cool. The soundtrack is definitely, it fits the mood for each stage and each character and what's going on, and it's also high quality. So overall, it's really happy.
Again, you can tell for its time. Again, just judging for its time. It's MIDI sound recordings for these tracks, the way they compose them.
That's how.
So in that regard, it sounds a little bit dated, but
I mean, especially Nintendo for a long time, even in their more recent consoles, used MIDI for a long time.
I mean, I'm just saying, you can really tell how old the recordings sound.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, or at least just again from its time, how it was made, simplistic.
Yeah. But that's the thing. But I don't know, at least for me, the old classic.
I'm so not bashing it for them. I'm just saying.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I still like it. I mean, it's got a charm to it.
Exactly. It has a special charm to it.
Yeah.
A sound that can only be created with that. It's almost like a different instrument. All right, going on to characters. Yeah. We already kind of dipped into this a bit with the different playable characters.
I guess we talk about how they feel to control. I mean, with the way the controls and all that do feel, which we did talk about, it's a little clunky sometimes with the N64 controller, the fabled N64 controller, and how it can control in certain games. This is a more clunkier Smash Brothers game, so you don't see people running this one.
It's the first one in the series, exactly.
Yeah. But the characters that, a lot of, for certain characters, not until Smash 4, their movesets were pretty much kept the same throughout this one, Melee and Brawl, with only small tweaks here and there.
Well, Brawl overall felt a little slower to me than the N64
That's the common thing I keep hearing.
Yeah.
While it does, I still feel that it's fluid enough, and it's still quick in terms of just executing certain attacks, like doing with the C-stick and all that.
Yeah.
Versus Melee, which to me feels a little too clunky, even though you see the speedrunners and everyone else who can, keep it quick, keep it fast-paced and all that. And then Wii U's control scheme is just kind of weird all around, I guess. Kind of more on the clunky side, but this one, just in particular, has that N64 clunkiness, which is different than just how a modern console can handle what we call clunky controls.
Yeah. Part of it, again, just because it's on the N64, is just because of it's the controller. But
it's what it was made for.
But yeah, I mean,
what are you gonna do?
A little clunky. But overall, each character, it's not. Most of the characters aren't too hard to jump between because the controls, although the moves they use are much different, but it's the same combination, so it's not too hard to jump between.
The scheme is pretty unified, but they've got their separate abilities, which make them obviously feel
very different. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I know a big problem with some of the newer ones is people complain about a lot of Sword clones or Fire Emblem clones. Marcelo is one of these people. And that's one thing that's good about the smaller roster is that none of the characters feel the same in the first one.
Exactly.
Everyone feels different and unique. And some of the characters are harder to use than others. A lot of the easier ones to play, Kirby is probably one of the easier ones, as well as Jigglypuff, for the fact that they are able to fly back onto the...
Yeah.
So that they're typically the good starters.
Good beginner,
Yeah. Where if Ness being one of the unlockable ones, where the triple jump is much harder to pull off because it's not basic. It's not just an activate and you jump. You actually have to shock yourself with a move that you actually control your own to launch yourself forward, which makes it a lot more complicated. So there's a good level of beginner characters
and pro
balanced characters and pro characters involved in that game, which helped at the time kind of include everyone to their own play style and type of character they want to play, and has given them easy to get into, hard to master kind of a game.
Yeah.
Depending on the character you're playing.
That's pretty much it. So verdicts, what did you think of this?
Personally, like I said, it's nostalgia's probably kicking in here, but it's my favorite Super Smash Bros. Game. It's what I started. It's what I've played the most. Not that I don't like the others, because I do, including Smash 4 and everything. But I would probably give this game
out of 5 number.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'll be like, it's
to go out of 10.
Yeah, I know. I tend to go out of 10. I have to give it a 4. Definitely a really fun game. I like it a lot. Like I said, there's a little bit of clunkiness to it, a little bit of inconsistency with some of the artwork and stuff, but overall, very enjoyable, very good game overall, especially for that time and age that it came out.
Yeah. So the first game I played from the Smash series was Melee. That was my introductory game. And then I played Brawl, so I didn't get to visit 64 until, honestly, I think until I got my own 64. This was one of the first games I got for it, and I played it, and it was kind of like, I don't know if I've mentioned the Tekken story before. It's not a very long story, but I grew up with Tekken 2, played Tekken 3, 4, and then eventually moved on to 1. I saw Tekken 1, this is just an analogy, and you could tell it's primitive. It was early, it was experimental, it was primitive. It did well enough to launch a fucking series, but I could tell why people wouldn't call it one of their absolute favorite, even with nostalgia.
Yeah.
Well, some people with nostalgia will say it's one of their favorites. For Tekken's sake, some people even with nostalgia don't exactly say that one's their most favorite. That's how I am with this one. I see the nostalgia and I see whatever else in it, but since it's not the first one I played, and I can see that, Melee and everything definitely stepped everything up from that one. Of course, if it wasn't for this one, these other ones wouldn't be the way they are and all that stuff. But
all the others do, like I said, they do change it up a little bit. So some people might prefer the feel of one over another.
Yeah.
But the general consensus is that some of the newer ones are the more popular ones.
Yeah. That being said, I probably have to give this one a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Again, the
still a solid score. It's basically a 7.
Yeah. So the clunkiness and all that stuff. I kind of wish that somehow, some way, how they would have done it, because again, they did try to push the console to the limit with this game.
Yeah.
If there were it's smaller improvements, I guess, but of the other ones, I definitely prefer those ones over this one. So, but it's still fun. So yeah. Any last minute stuff you want to mention about the game? How did you find this game? Was it just one of the ones you were introduced to as a kid?
My friend had it. He lived down the street, and it was basically like a little after the GameCube had come out, so people were still playing their N64, right? Because it was during that transitionary period.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a GameCube. That's why I went to my friend's house to play it most of the time. But we also played the N64 because it was still relevant. It was at the end of its life, but it was still relevant.
Yeah.
And he had the game, and I played it at his house. I really liked it. And so he let me borrow it for a while, and then he ended up moving and forgot to get it back from me, so I ended up having it for a long time. And then he came back to visit some friends, and they took it back from me. So, but that's how I got into the game.
Nice. Because I definitely had heard about it, but it was that very rare, will I ever get a chance to play it? And I was into Melee, into Brawl. I was excited for all the ones that were coming up, not the one that already happened that I just never got around to playing. So eventually, since I had no real nostalgic or otherwise, real connection to it, because you can play any of the Smash Bros. Games, only Brawl has a story. Again, Subspace Emissary, but it doesn't actually impact anything else outside of that mode. So there's no story, whatever, you can get into any Smash Bros. Game and be completely fine with it without having to know how the other ones even were like.
No.
So because of that, I was like, okay, so how is just for the sake of I've played it, what's the first one like? So I picked it up and I played it and I was like, well, it's okay. Again, just because of how it is and what I think of it, that's how the opinion's formulated.
Yeah.
I was like, well, it's okay, but I still prefer the ones I already
It's a good starting point, but
yeah. The other ones definitely improved enough towards I'm gonna go for these ones.
Yeah.
But still fun. We've padded the time long enough, I think. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. What do you guys think of it? Let us know in the comments down below. I'm Marcelo.
I'm Chase.
And we'll see you guys later. Welcome to Trash Talk. See you from Trash Talk. Thanks for watching Trash Talk. I said welcome at the end of the episode. See you guys later.
Welcome to the end of the episode.
Take care.